John is a Purdue University and University of Illinois alumni. He started his career in Chicago Public Schools and later in his career started a private practice that grew into a national speech-language pathology agency which specialized in bilingual speech-language pathology. John currently is the founder and CEO of LinguaHealth and the bilingual SLP resource group Bilingua.com. John, you became a bilingual speech-language pathologist without being a native Spanish speaker and without going to a specialized bilingual program. How did you become a bilingual speech-language pathologist?
When I was an undergrad and graduate student, it was the late 80s and early 90s, and at that time I like to think it was like the Wild West for bilingual speech-language pathology. It was really hard to find good information. There were very few programs that specialized in bilingual speech-language pathology. So I really had to create my own program. I was lucky enough to find Dr. Joan Good-Erickson at the University of Illinois, and she helped me create a program specializing in bilingual speech-language pathology. Every time I had a course that was related to any of my subjects, I made sure it involved Spanish or issues in bilingual speech-language pathology. So when I had a phonology paper to do, I did it on phonological acquisition of Spanish language. When I had a language acquisition course to do, I did the acquisition of Spanish or language development, anything like that. Little by little, I started getting the knowledge foundation, but I also had to work on my language foundation. So I took high-level Spanish courses in the Spanish department. In grad school, I took linguistics courses that were based in the Spanish department. And then ultimately I decided to do a year abroad to work on immersion to get my Spanish language skills up to the level that I had desired.
Tell me about your year abroad.
When I was at University of Illinois, I met someone that had actually worked in an orphanage in Guatemala. And there was room and board for work. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a great deal, right? So essentially what I did was I went down to this program and I taught first grade in an orphanage in Guatemala. Half of the population was indigenous villagers that spoke Cachiquel, Mayan dialect, and Spanish, and the other half were orphans from mostly Guatemala City. And it was quite a unique mix. So I worked with this population teaching reading and math, just very basic primary school subjects, and learned also to improve my Spanish language skills. And I learned a lot about bilingualism too, and cultural issues and serving different populations. It was quite an experience.
Mm-hmm. And now that you've had that experience, would you recommend volunteering to others?
I would definitely recommend volunteering. It's not for everybody. There are some challenges. You have to really seek out and do research on the organization that you're going to get involved with to make sure that it's reputable, that the situation is safe, and that, you know, try to mitigate some risks, because it can be risky going to a different country, working in a place that you don't really know, for an organization you may or may not really know too much about. I would also recommend that you talk to people that have actually gone there and done the work. That helped me, knowing somebody that actually had set foot on the project and actually had worked in the orphanage. I didn't want to come back. I wanted to make sure that when I went there, I actually finished my year. So it was risky in that sense. You know, you have to want to try to stick it out and stay there for the time you're trying to be there. And I would just say, you know, the more research you can do about the project, and the more that you can talk to people that went through that project, and will be better off guaranteeing the success that you're going to have a great experience.
I know, speaking for myself and others who are speech-language pathologists who have had a year of volunteering abroad, that it's not only a great move professionally, but they've also found it very personally fulfilling. Well, thanks for sharing these valuable experiences that help shape your drive for our profession.
Thank you, Carrie.